We've got an amazing drill contractor with a long-term relationship with Dorado Drilling. They've been, a great company to work with, and we have the ability to add more rigs as needed.
Well, hello, welcome to Assay TV. Today I'm delighted to be joined by Max Porterfield, who is the CEO, President and Director of Callinex Mines. Max, joining us today from Texas. Good to see you.
I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Fantastic. Callinex Mines, for those of you who don't know, are exploring in two of Canada's most prolific mining districts, Bathurst in New Brunswick and Flin Flon in Manitoba. And Max, 2020 has been quite a transformational year for the company. I was looking before this interview at your share price. I think on the 1st of April, you were down at about 38 cents, Canadian cents, and now you're on about $4.60. Amazing year for the company. You have two major projects there. Starting off with the Bathurst Silver project, tell us a little bit about what you found there.
Yeah, absolutely. So Nash Creek project, we have a PEA stage asset. It's a zinc lead deposit historically near surface open pittable. And the PEA that we published in 2018 showed a $230 million NPV and a 34% IRR pre-tax. With that being said, we continue to advance exploration in spite of the shorter term fluctuations that we had in the zinc space since 2018. And we actually intersected silver, two silver discoveries, in fact, that was near surface silver dominant, 6.5 kilometers apart from each other on the main controlling fault that hadn't actually previously been drill tested. And since that time, we followed up with a soil sampling campaign to encompass the 10-kilometer trend on either side of both the silver discoveries and covering the areas between that. And we've seen some significant anomalous soils, silver anomalies, adjacent and associated with the that main controlling fault where we intersected those silver discoveries. And we're eager to get back to New Brunswick and follow up in the very near future. And again, in terms of the grades that we're hitting out there, they're above the cutoff grade based upon the PEA that was published in 2018. One of the drill holes, NC 2313, intersected actually 16.5 meters of almost 100 gram per ton silver near surface. So again, we're quite excited about what's going on in New Brunswick.
Good time to be getting into the silver market as well.
No, yeah, listen, it was quite exciting when we found out we actually intersected silver dominant mineralizations, and not just one, but those two holes. So widely spaced apart from each other, and it couldn't happen in a better time as far as we're concerned. And it's very rare, again, that you hit near surface silver, that'd be silver dominant mineralization in adjacent to a PEA stage zinc lead asset, and all that sits 25 kilometers away from a deep water port rail line that goes directly to smelting operations within Canada, as well as a power station. So again, it's kind of right place, right time, and it's all falling into place for us in New Brunswick there.
And moving on to your project in the Flin Flon District in Manitoba, the Rainbow discovery at the Pine Bay project. Tell us about what you found there.
Yeah, so that was another very exciting, and this is something that's been a lot to us because the real focus of the company is creating long-term job creation through discovery in these known Canadian mining jurisdictions. The success that we're having in New Brunswick, I think we're well on our path to doing that. And in Manitoba is a very special place for us. Our technical team has been associated and credited with the discovery of 3 of the 4 largest mines in Flin Flon's history. And that spans 100 years of continuous production and 32 mines. But unfortunately, right now, that community is really in need of a discovery because there hasn't been a new discovery made, and the 777 mine's due to shut down in Q2 of next year. So the Rainbow discovery is ideally located at as the crow flies, 16 kilometers away from Flin Flon, roughly a 20-minute drive by all-weather road access directly to the site. There's actually a historic shaft on the property in very close proximity to the discovery, and it's actually made within a mineral lease. So it's advanced permitting from when it was permitted to go into production in the 1960s. That really allows to really compress some of the time horizons when you advance the discovery. And then on top of that, there's actually a hydroelectric power line that runs, adjacent to the discovery within a couple hundred meters, actually. And with this big move and shift on this higher consciousness and move away from the hydrocarbons, and going to have a big demand on copper, There's also going to be a big shift from a kind of a environmentally sustainable approach in terms of where is that being produced, and how is that power being sourced to actually produce those metals that are ultimately going to go into these electric vehicles and what have you. And to have that hydroelectric power line to provide low-cost power, clean power, is obviously a big benefit to the discovery. And in terms of what we're actually intersecting, is exceptionally high-grade copper. I mean, one of our holes into the Rainbow discovery, there's two zones that we've intersected to date. He had 5 meters of 10.5% copper equivalent, and that copper was, over 8% copper, but also includes, of course, a bit of gold, silver, and zinc there, which shows that the polymetallic nature of these deposits in the Flin Flon camp, which is what's made that camp so prolific and well known globally in terms of its mineral endowment. We've recently got back data from the Rainbow, and we did an electromagnetic survey that had never been done before over the first 2 zones discovered, and moved to the south of the power line, which was really a kind of the cutoff point where a lot of the survey data had always been done to the north of that power line. And what that unveiled was really over 1 kilometer of conductive anomalies along strike to the south of the first 2 zones that we intersected, which is very unique in terms of to have a 1 kilometer of conductive strike in the camp. It happens very rarely. You see it at the Trout Lake mine, which is past producing. You see it at the Flin Flon 777 mine horizon that hosted the original Flin Flon ore body, and the 777 mine that's due to shut down. And then you also see that in the Snow Lake area, the Flin Flon Greenstone Belt, at the Lawler and Chisel mine horizon. So to see that Rainbow along strike from to the south of these exceptionally high grade copper mineralization with the other metals there is extremely exciting, and the potential it has for that community is of utmost importance for ourselves and really what we're all about.
Absolutely. And I understand you recently commenced further drilling at the Rainbow Project. Tell us, what are your plans?
Exactly. So we're in the midst of finishing up a capital raise that we're quite excited to have gotten taken care of, so we can fund the drilling going forward. But what we're going to have budgeted in Manitoba is 30,000 meters of drilling. It's going to be results driven. We're actually currently drilling a step out hole vertically above the first 2 zones. So we're continuing to chase mineralization and delineate mineralization at the Rainbow zones, the orange and yellow zones, the first 2 zones discovered, and bringing that closer to surface. And then the second drill is right now testing a sequencing of 3 stacked anomalies that actually have twice the strike length than the first two zones that we've intersected due from the surface pulse EM data. And that's one of the most exciting drill holes that I think I've certainly ever been a part of in my career to date. And obviously you're eager to get it completed.
Absolutely. And in terms of infrastructure, you mentioned earlier, obviously it's got a lot of mining in the area. There's a lot of infrastructure there. But in terms of your sort of drilling, I know that some companies are struggling to find drill rigs, and assay labs are taking a long time. How's the situation in Manitoba?
Well, we've got 2 rigs on site. We've got an amazing drill contractor with a long-term relationship with Dorado Drilling. They've been, a great company to work with. And we have the ability to add more rigs as needed. And obviously we'll plan to do so to accelerate the expansion of things based upon the results there. But as far as it goes, everyone we've been dealing with has been great. I think, ultimately when everyone understands the impact that this program can have for the future of Flin Flon and mining in Manitoba, everyone wants to, be very helpful to that objective. And we've seen that definitely with all contractors and service providers to that end.
Absolutely. You mentioned you just done a capital raise. How much did you raise, and who was taking part in that?
So we've announced 7.7 million. We haven't announced closing of that, which we're looking to do in the very near future. And that's going to be a mix of family offices and institutional funds that have been following this story. Some of them are current shareholders, and also others are new to the shareholder register, which we're quite excited to have, broader distribution and more awareness of what we're doing, and obviously the support of both existing and new shareholders come aboard.
How long will that funding last in terms of the next stages of drilling?
That's going to be fully funding the 30,000 meters of drilling in Manitoba, as well as obviously provide G&A. That'll also be funding a drilling campaign to follow up on the silver discoveries in New Brunswick. So we'll be testing the 7 target areas that have been identified along that main controlling fault that I discussed earlier, as well as announcing a updated PEA on our Point Leamington project in Newfoundland in the Buckens district. So there's actually 3 mines and three camps was the motto, and that's what we're looking to achieve. Point Leamington is a sizable historic gold, zinc, and copper resource that actually sits within a mineral lease, just like the Rainbow discovery does in Pine Bay. So it's advanced permitting, and it's a historic resource right now. And when we were reviewing it, we saw some deficiencies that were done in the modeling of that resource that we're having addressed, which actually create a real opportunity for that deposit. So we've been working diligently on that and looking to publish an updated 43-101 compliant resource for Point Leamington in the near future. And in addition to that, we've outlined a number of exploration targets that we've identified that we'll also look to drill test at some point in the future there in Newfoundland. So there's a lot of value in Callinex, a lot of discoveries in multiple different facets. You know, in Nash Creek, that's kind of going to a different area of the Bathurst district, so to speak, and discovering silver near surface, again, very widely spaced. So you're going in a different area of the camp and finding something new. And in Flin Flon, it's, you know, a discovery that has been made by going into an old camp where you have the great geology and potential endowment for a large deposit to be hosted there, but bringing new ideas and a new approach to make that discovery, which we've done, and now looking to expand upon that with an objective to create long-term jobs for that community. And then in Buckens, as again, you know, you've got a mismodeling of a historic resource, which creates real opportunity on the backdrop of much higher metal prices across the board for all the metals. Really creates a compelling opportunity in the Buckens district. But again, the focus for the most of the capital is going to be deployed directly towards Rainbow because it's truly exceptional copper grades. You know, in terms of 8% copper, you're looking at something, you know, north of 10, 15 times the global average. The global average copper grade is, again, 0.5% copper. And those will also, again, won't be the clean energy that I mentioned that's actually producing those mines.
Absolutely. I mean, and you know, people talk about sort of 3% copper and get super excited. You're talking about 8% copper, and as you mentioned, you know, people are looking for green copper. So if you can produce copper without, you know, having to use a lot of fossil fuels to achieve it, that's all the better. It sounds like you've got a very exciting year ahead. We look forward to reading your announcements as they come out, and hearing about how things are progressing, and look forward to speaking with you a little bit further down the track. But thank you very much, Max, for that update on the company. Good luck for the year ahead.
Thank you, and thanks again for having me.